So as my butter starts to melt, I'm going to go ahead and add my fresh sage. Hey sous chefs, welcome back and welcome to the Gurley Chef. I'm your mom Gurley, and today we are going to welcome fall season with sweet potatoes. Yes, so today we're gonna do some maple roasted sweet potatoes in the oven, along with some maple roasted pecans, like candy pecans, to put on top. But the thing that's gonna take this up another level, so I guess you could basically say we're about to level up, is a brown butter sage. So I'm gonna show you while these roast how to make the brown butter sage right here at home to impress yourself as well as your guests. So family and friends will probably ask for this recipe. As always, I list all of the ingredients and the measurements below the video. So I hope you like it. I hope you enjoy, and let's do it. All right. So you want to make sure when you cut your sweet potatoes, you kind of cut them evenly. This will allow for even cooking in the oven. So I'm going to get ready to season these with pure maple syrup. We're going to do a little oil. You can actually do butter if you want, but since I'm doing butter at the end, I'm going to kind of cut back on that. And you're going to sprinkle with salt and pepper. You guys know how much I love pepper. And we're gonna mix to coat all of them evenly. Then we're gonna put these on a baking sheet, and we're gonna put them in the oven for roughly 40 minutes. I would say anywhere between 40 and 30 minutes, depending on your oven. I have a convection oven, so I can really go about 30 minutes because of the way the heat circulates in my oven. But halfway through, you're going to actually toss these to make sure that they're staying coated with the maple coating, and then put it back in for the additional time to remain, well, the remainder of the time to cook. All right, so let's get ready to do the pecans. Okay, and for the pecans, we're gonna add the maple syrup. If I was really trying to make this simple, I would definitely add butter, but I'm not, but you can. And I'm gonna add a little salt. Don't worry about adding too much salt right now because we can always add salt at the end when they come out of the oven. You're gonna coat them really, really well. And the thing with the pecans, we're actually not going to roast them until the last 10 minutes, the cooking time for the sweet potatoes. So they're gonna go on a separate cooking sheet or baking sheet, and then we will actually roast them the last 10 minutes. So that way everything is ready all at once. While we're roasting our sweet potatoes and our pecans, we're going to go ahead and start the sage brown butter. I kind of want to call these pecans because I hear a lot of people say it, but you know what? I'm a Mississippi girl, and they're gonna always be pecans. All right, let's do it. I recommend if you have parchment paper or a silicone mat to use it because it will prevent both of these from sticking. I have run out of my parchment paper, so I'm not going to use it today. So I will just have to put a little extra elbow work into cleaning this pan. So spread them out so that they can roast. And these are gonna be good. And let's do the sweet potatoes. I'm gonna toss them again, make sure they're all well coated. And pour these babies on. And again, don't forget, we're doing this with pure maple syrup. We're not doing this with like, I guess you could say the syrup that we grew up on. So I don't want to name them because I don't want to give them a shout out, but all right, I'm going to roast this for 30 to 40 minutes depending on your oven. Halfway through, we're going to toss to make sure they're well coated again. Finish cooking. You want to get them nice with the little crispy edges and caramelized. Pecans go in at the last 10 minutes of cooking. All right, so while we have our sweet potatoes and our pecans roasting in the oven, I'm gonna go ahead and put a stick of butter into my pan, turn the fire on, and we want our fire on low. Because one thing with butter, butter has milk solids. And how we achieve brown butter is because those milk solids are going to float to the bottom and they're going to start to brown. And as they brown, they start to get a nutty flavor. I guess you can kind of explain this entire process. It's kind of like with, you know, you always know oil and water doesn't mix. So like if you had a grease fire, you know that you would never put water on a grease fire. You would use something to extinguish that, but it wouldn't be water. And one thing with this, as the butter starts to melt, you're going to start to hear a lot of sizzling and popping, and that's going to be the water actually separating from the oil, the butter. So you're going to hear the water evaporate. You're going to see the milk solids flow to the bottom, and they're going to start to brown, and that's what you want. You're going to, you know, stir it occasionally, but you never want to turn your fire up too high because it can go from being brown butter to burning very, very quick. And I'll show you the different stages as we go. Another thing before I move to the next step is you want to make sure you use a pan that's going to allow you to see the color of the butter. If you use something, say like cast iron skillet, so like if I use my cast iron skillet, I would not be able to differentiate between the different colors of the butter. So make sure you use like a stainless steel that allows you to see the actual mixture as it separates and starts to turn. All right. So as my butter starts to melt, I'm going to go ahead and add my fresh sage so that the sage can start to infuse the butter. And one thing with the sage is going to get crispy, and as it starts to get crispy, that's what we want. And I'm going to take it out and I'll salt it just a little bit because you want to eat that when you eat the actual final meal, when you eat the sweet potatoes and the pecan. You want to taste all these flavors together. So do you hear the sizzling? You hear the popping? That's the water. It's doing its thing. It's separating, it's evaporating, and as I always say, that's what we want. All right, so we're back, and right now, just listen. You don't hear the popping, you don't hear the sizzling. All of the water has evaporated. So I'm gonna just kind of skim this back so you can see the milk solids at the bottom. And you can see where they're starting to brown. That's what we want. So I'm gonna let this go for like another, I would say, minute or so. And then I'm gonna put it into like a cool container. I'm gonna put it in here because I don't have that much butter. You can always put it into a bowl, but what you wanna do is take it out of the pan so that it doesn't continue to cook. Because you take the risk of it actually burning itself, and you don't want it to do that. So, all right, let's get ready to serve up some brown butter, y'all. All right, so right now I'm gonna take my pan and I'm going to strain it. So we leave all those brown bits over here. We don't want it. See that nice golden brown? Looks like I got some more, so I'm gonna actually strain it again. You know what? We can go ahead and probably strain it in here. So let's do that. There we go. There's the magic. So that should be the last of the little brown solids. And then we have this nice caramel. Let me get a spoon. This nice caramel butter. No, I want to actually get a plate so you guys can really, really see it. So that's what the butter ends up looking like. So it's a nice caramel color, nice light and brown, and that's what we're going to coat the sweet potatoes with. So let's get ready to plate. All right, so I just took the sweet potatoes out. Just took the pecans out. And we are going to load it up. You see the glaze? I know y'all see that. The yummy glaze from the serve. So this is really good. I mean, if somebody said, hey, can you bring a dish? This is a quick and easy dish to bring. I mean, you pretty much can do this in less than an hour. I'm glad I'm home. I can look at my fingers. All right, so I'm just gonna add a few pecans. You can crunch these up if you want, like I'm doing here. You can, of course, put these in a bowl and crunch them up, but or you can leave them whole. It doesn't hurt. It's really depending upon you. So they're nice and glazed. I'm just gonna put a few here, here, just so you kind of get the idea. And I'm gonna eat one. Oh, it's good. All right, so then you just take your delicious brown butter. You can just glaze this baby up. This is so simple, you guys. If you want, you can put everything in a bowl or like a Tupperware container and then just dump, I said dump, and then just put the lid on it and toss everything. Toss it all together and then put it on plates. But I'm just doing this to kind of show you guys the magic. And then of course the sage is crispy and good. And that's it. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. I need to wash my hands. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. I hope you like it. Hope you subscribe to the channel. And guess what? It's time to eat, y'all. All right, see you next time. Bye.